If you've ever felt that quiet, stubborn doubt, the kind you ignore because you don't want to become that person, pause for a second. If this story keeps you reading, you already know why it matters. You don't have to agree with me. Just stay with it. She came home at 2:07 a.m. not quietly. Not with the careful movements of someone hoping the house is asleep. Her keys hit the console table hard, metal against wood, sharp enough to announce her presence. The sound carried through the entryway and into the kitchen like punctuation. Her coat hung halfway off one shoulder. Her hair was stiff from night air and perfume. When the kitchen light flicked on, she froze for a fraction of a second, just long enough to register surprise, and then arranged her face into something practiced. "Coffee ran late," she said, dropping her purse. Emily wouldn't stop talking about her new place. I stood with the refrigerator door open, cold air spilling over my hands, numb and steady. The hum of the motor filled the space between us. "Coffee doesn't take 4 hours. We lost track of time," she added, lighter now. "You know how it is. You were unreachable for 4 hours," I said. "That's not losing track. That's leaving the planet." She shrugged, kicked off her heels, and let them fall where they landed. "If you don't believe me, call Emily. Call all of them. I'll put it on speaker. You'll hear her half asleep and annoyed." My jaw tightened once. I felt the click before I heard it. I didn't take the bait. "Go to bed, Rachel." She smiled, a small, contained, the kind of smile that pretends nothing just happened. Then she turned and disappeared down the hallway. If I had known where that smile was headed, I would have changed the locks that night. The next morning, her perfume still lingered in the entryway like residue. I made eggs, packed my lunch for the shop. The routine felt deliberate, like I was anchoring myself to something solid. She brushed past me in a neat bun and pressed blouse, moving like everything between us was fine. "You're quiet," she said, buttoning her sleeve. "I like facts," I replied. "Last night didn't offer any." She sighed. "You're still on that." She reached for my coffee mug without asking, fingers wrapping around the handle like intimacy was muscle memory. "Relax. If you need timestamps, I can text Emily, or you can call my mom. Her book club ended at 9:30. Does that help your schedule?" "You're mixing people, times, and tone," I said. "It doesn't help." "So what? You want me to check in every hour?" she asked, staring at me over the rim of the mug. "I want a partner who doesn't turn the house into a bus station at 2 in the morning. I picked up my keys. "Tonight," I said. "If you're up past 10, send a text. Not a novel. Just a text. That's controlling. That's clarity." She smiled at the word like it was cheap. "Sure, clarity." The shop smelled like rubber oil and old coffee bonus smells. I run a small place in Westfield. 3 bays, 2 lifts. Steady work. No drama. Dan, my lead tech, glanced at me over the hood of a Corolla. "You sleep in that jacket?" he asked. "Domestic turbulence," I said. "And stable air." "Her or you?" "Her. Back late. 2 in the morning." He whistled. "That's some powerful coffee." "I'm not playing sheriff," I said. "I just want facts." "You gotta hire someone." "I already did." I held up the card I'd pocketed earlier. "Caleb Morse Investigations." Caleb called back that morning. His voice sounded like gravel, calm, unbothered. Over lunch, he sat in my office chair, hands folded, eyes neutral. The kind of man who made his living waiting. "Tell me what you need." "My wife says she's with friends," I said. "She's not." "I don't care about drama. I care about facts." "Who, where, when?" He nodded, pen moving. "You assume there's someone else?" he asked. "I assume there's a pattern," I said. "Patterns don't happen without reasons." He nodded again. "Accounts join?" he asked. "For now. You may want to separate discretionary spending while I work." "Not punishment. Protection." "I'm already on it." I separated the accounts that afternoon. "Not revenge. Insurance, groceries, and bills stayed joined." Everything else split clean. When she saw the paperwork that night, she left. Are we 12? No, I said. We're adults protecting mortgages. You're punishing me for having friends. I'm removing friction, I said. You can stay out all week if you want. The house will still stand. She laughed aloud, the sound bouncing off the kitchen walls, and took her laptop to the couch. 15 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Surveillance begins tomorrow. Keep routines normal. So I did. She stayed out late again. Played polite roommate in the mornings. Smiled like the problem was imaginary. I went to the neighborhood barbecue alone. When she arrived halfway through, sunglasses on, laughter sharp, she kissed my cheek like a press photo. Miss me? We live together, I said. She turned it into a joke for the neighbors, collecting laughs that landed on me like darts. I raised my voice just enough to carry. If anyone texts me after 10 asking where Rachel is, I said, I won't know. That's our new system. They are cooled by a degree. That was my boundary. Neutral. Public. No theater. That Sunday was softer. She moved around the kitchen like she was trying on an older version of us. We cooked together. Nothing fancy. Music low. Netflix running in the background while we folded towels on the couch. It almost worked. Almost as dangerous. Monday morning she packed my lunch. A turkey sandwich wrapped neatly. A note folded into the napkin. Trying. It looked right. It felt rehearsed. I didn't argue with it. I filed it. By Wednesday, the routine cracked again. She came in after midnight. This time the keys were louder. Intentional. Emily's cat got sick. She called from the hallway. We had to rush to the vet. I stood in the bedroom doorway. Voice even. Send me a photo from the vet. She stopped. You don't trust me. I'm asking for a picture of a place you say you were, I said. It's not a diary. It's a snapshot. She pulled her phone from her pocket and tossed it onto the bed like a challenge. Here, scavenge. I'm not going through your phone at 1 in the morning, I said, handing it back. Go to sleep. Then stop acting like a hall monitor. I'll sleep when facts visit the house. She rolled away and turned off the lamp. I stared at the ceiling until the dishwasher clicked off in the kitchen. Thursday afternoon. Caleb called. I stepped outside the bay, grease on my knuckle. Phone pressed to my ear. Got movement, he said. I leaned against the cinder block wall. Your wife's pattern is consistent. Monday, lunch at Riverwalk with a male. Late 30s. Tuesday, gym together. Wednesday, drive out past Naperville. Parked. Talked for an hour. Today, I asked. She met him at a travel agency on Jefferson. At travel agency, old school place, Caleb added. They picked up a packet. Do you have photos? I do. Send them. I finished a break job like I hadn't just learned something that rearranged my chest. The photos weren't graphic. They were worse. Familiar. Heads tilted close. Body language that didn't belong to me anymore. At the agency, they held a glossy brochure together. The Eiffel Tower stared back from the cover like a joke with timing. That evening, I grilled chicken and ate standing at the counter. Rachel texted that she was at Jenny's with friends. If I called, would Emily answer and improvise? Probably. I put my phone face down. The next morning, Friday, at 10:12 a.m., Caleb called again. She's at O'Hare, he said. Terminal 5. Same man. I closed my eyes. I've got shots of them at check-in. He rolled their bag. They're holding hands. I watched the parking lot through the bay doors. Blue sky. Nothing dramatic. Destination. I asked. Paris. He sent the photos while we were still on the line. Boarding passes. Gate number. Departure time 11:15. Do you want me to keep eyes until wheels up? He asked. That's enough, I said. Send everything to my email. At 11:04. My phone buzzed. Hey babe. Crazy last-minute deal. Paris with the girls. I'll be back in a week. It was too good to pass up. Love you. I stared at the message longer than I needed to doubt the timing would have been funny in a sitcom. I typed back without anger, without extra punctuation. Hope you have fun with him. There will be divorce papers waiting when you get back. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. The phone rang. I let it go. Then came the messages. Are you serious? Who is him? You're being insane. I'm with Emily and Claire. You're embarrassing yourself. I blocked her. Not for noise. For policy. 10 seconds later, an email arrived. Subject, call me. I closed the laptop. At the shop, Dan leaned into my office. You good? I'm stepping out for an hour, I said. You and Louise can handle the F-150. He looked at my face and didn't ask anything else. At the bank, I removed my name from every discretionary card tied to her spending. Alerts went to my phone only. I moved emergency cash to a separate account and left the bills untouched. Then I drove to her parents' house. Ed answered the door with a rag in his hand like he'd been waiting for something to fix. What's up, son? Rachel is out of the country with a man, I said. She just texted that she's in Paris with the girls. The words heavy. Marlene appeared behind him, dish towel over her shoulder. I'm not here for drama, I continued. I hired a professional. I have photos. I wanted you to hear it from me. Ed blinked. What? I'll email you what I have, I said. I'm ending the marriage cleanly. I'd like your support when she lands. Marlene pressed a hand to her chest, then lowered it again like she caught herself being theatrical. We need to talk to Rachel. You will, I said. When she comes back, she'll say it's not what it looks like. I'm not interested in virgins. I'm interested in logistics. Ed stepped aside. Bring the boxes, he said. We'll make space. I went home and got to work. I packed her clothes carefully, folded, labeled. No ceremony, no damage. I boxed the kitchen things she'd brought into the marriage, the decor she loved. I changed the garage code and front door keypad. Left a note on the counter with instructions for supervised access. I took our wedding photo off the mantel and placed it face down in a drawer. Not a decision. A pause. That evening, the calls started from unfamiliar numbers. I let them ring. The house phone rang. I still keep it for older relatives. Evan, Marlene said tight. Rachel is emailing us in tears. She says you blocked her and threatened divorce out of nowhere. I sent you an email 10 minutes ago, I said. Check it. Then call me back. They did. Ed's voice was different when he returned. Those pictures, he said quietly. I know. We'll be there when she lands. When does she get back? I asked. She says a week. Caleb will confirm the return flight. Who's Caleb? The professional who took the photos, I said. Don't worry about him. Worry about her story when she walks in. Marlene came back on the line, smaller now. I'm sorry you're seeing this. I'm not sorry, I said. I'm informed. The first illusion of change had already come and gone. The packed lunch, the note, the softened voice. She had tried on tenderness like a jacket to sizes too big and left it behind at airport security. Caleb texted Saturday morning. Checked into a hotel in the 6th arrondissement. Confirmed return flight next Friday. Then, after a pause, you did the right thing. Monday. Rachel tried again. An email this time. Long, careful. This trip isn't what you think. Emily backed out last minute. Claire invited a coworker so we wouldn't lose the booking. There are 4 of us. You know how it is. I didn't answer. Email turns truth into a slow dance, and I wasn't dancing. Tuesday. A florist knocked with a large bouquet. I sent it back. Wednesday. A package arrived, a scarf, folded perfectly, with a note. A little Paris for you. I dropped it at her parents' porch without ringing the bell. Thursday. A mutual friend called. Man, Rachel is losing it, he said. Says you went nuclear. Want to talk? Did she say where she is? I asked. Paris. With the girls. With a guy. She told you half a story on purpose, I said. Don't be a messenger. He went quiet, then aligned, copy. You need anything. I need you to stay neutral. That helps everyone. Friday afternoon, Ed called. Flight lands at 3:40. We'll be at your place by 5. She wants to come straight there. Perfect, I said. They arrived with a casserole. Old habits die hard. I put it in the fridge. We waited. At 5:30, the driveway camera caught her car. She parked crooked, grabbed her carry-on, and came fast. Like speed could reverse footage. She burst through the door, breath quick, eyes flaring to each of us. What is wrong with you? She said. You blocked me. You humiliated me. Sit, I said, pointing to the chair. She didn't. Ed's voice cut through, flat and firm. Sit down. She did. So this is a tribunal. She said. No, I said. This is a handoff. I slid the folder onto the coffee table. These are divorce papers. Clean terms. I'm not taking anything that isn't mine. Your things are already at your parents' house. You won't be staying here tonight. She laughed. Sharp. Wrong for the room. You can't be serious. Stop, Marlene said quietly. Rachel turned to her. Mom, tell him this is insane. We saw the photos, Ed said. Photos of what? She snapped. I slid the printouts forward. Airport. Check-in. Travel agency. You holding a man's hand on the way to Paris. She stared at them, then shoved them away. You hired someone to watch me. Are you out of your mind? I hired someone to give me facts, I said. You gave me performances. She paced 3 steps. This is a massive overreaction. He's a friend. He had points. By holding your hand through TSA. Ed asked. That ended it. She tried again. Softer this time. Used my name like it was a sweater pulled from a high shelf. I was overwhelmed. I needed air. I should have been honest. I'm sorry. It was better than the lunch note. Still not enough. You're not sorry, I said. You're cornered. She offered counseling. Location sharing. Receipts. I don't want receipts, I said. I want respect that isn't negotiated. She cried then. Real tears. Pretty ones braided with words. Please don't do this. I said. Ed stood. You're coming with us. She looked at me one last time. You'll regret this. I regret not doing it earlier. They left. Wheels over the threshold. Screen door closing. The house went quiet. And stayed that way. I slept that night. Like a man whose phone wasn't a weapon. Days after were boring in the best way. Banks, movers, paperwork, checkboxes. That felt like freedom. A month later, the house was only mine. I changed the bedroom layout so it didn't remember her shape. Built a desk in the spare room. Bought a leather chair I'd always wanted. Nothing flashy. Just solid. At the shop, Dan noticed. You're lighter, he said. I stopped carrying someone else's fog. On weekends, I took my nephew fishing. Rebuilt the workbench. Joined a gym that wasn't about nonsense. I met someone there. Her name is Grace. She asks direct questions. She doesn't disappear. As for Rachel, I hear about her without asking. Staying with her parents. Updating her resume. The man from Paris vanished when reality landed. That's how it usually goes. The last time I saw her was in a grocery store cereal. Oh, hi, she said. Hey, you look different. I sleep. She hesitated. I'm sorry. I know, I said. Take care. She pushed her cart away. No scene, no speech. Just an ending between cornflakes and granola. It fit. On her last pickup day, she asked me one thing. What hurt you the most? I set the box down and looked at her. It wasn't the trip, I said. It was that after booking it with him, you still wanted me to be your safe place. You wanted both. She nodded. Didn't argue. She left without looking back. Life didn't pause. It kept moving. I moved with it. People ask if I miss her. I miss the version of us before comfort became a personality and honesty became optional. I don't miss being a prop in someone else's show. There's a difference. If you made it this far, you already understand the point. When respect leaves, don't chase it. Set your terms. Act. Mean them. If this story stayed with you, leave a like so others can find it. If you've lived something similar, write it in the comments. And if you want more stories where quiet decisions change everything, subscribe. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just closed the door. And that was the end.